It's officially been 1 week since I started my 30-day art challenge, and some progress was made, I think. But I did find an art style I did really like, and also, I'll link all the tutorials I mentioned in the description. When I was a kid, I would always buy the How to Draw books at the book fairs at school, and I remember one of my favorite ones was How to Draw Dragons. I got it when I was probably around 10. But as I went through school and got towards middle school art class, I got really discouraged. There was a lot of kids that just seemed to be so much better than I was, and I'd been trying really hard for a long time to get good at it. And I get it, it's middle school, but it was kind of annoying and frustrating at the time, and I ended up just kind of giving up on it altogether. When I was in my late 20s, I decided again to get back into art, and I tried with acrylic painting, but I didn't really care for it too much. And I did try watercolor, and I did have a lot of fun with it and got into ink and watercolor drawings. Here are a few of those drawings that I could find. That lasted for about 2 months, but I wasn't seeing the progress I wanted and gave up. Now it's been a few years, and I decided to try again. I have a 2020 iPad Pro that I used to use for work, so I downloaded Procreate and decided to give digital art a shot. My goal with all of this is to see and document my progress and try to learn to draw again. I've always liked to make things and figured that this could be a good way for me to go about doing it. So on July 10th of 2010, I watched some tutorials on Procreate and practiced the controls and layouts. I have a full-time job and a family, so time is short, so the plan is to work on things piece by piece when I can. I decided to draw Shinra from Fire Force. I always wanted to be able to draw anime, and I really like the art style in that show. It has kind of a sketchy, comic-y style, for lack of a better way of describing it, where the lines and stuff go down the faces. So this drawing turned out okayish. I drew the head wrong and ended up just being a face, so I had to wing the rest of it and fill in the back of the head. This took about an hour and a half to do. On day two, I watched some head drawing tutorials, and it didn't really help too much. I wasn't having the most fun at the time trying to draw this, so I ended up just kind of sketching some eyes and testing out some shading. So I decided to draw a landscape. Landscapes always make a little bit more sense in my head, and I thought this would be a good way to test the layering and experiment with Procreate a little bit more to try to get a better feel of how it worked. But I want to learn to draw characters. It's something that I've always had issues with, but in the next couple days, I found something that I want to learn even more. Also, if you like this video and are wanting to go on this journey with me, please like and subscribe. On day three, I decided to stay with the landscape theme, but as I was looking around YouTube, I found a pixel art video and had to try it out. Pixel art games like Octopath, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Tactics Ogre are some of my favorite games. So, with going through some of the videos, I ended up finding a website that does palettes for pixel art. So, I ended up picking a palette set from that website and ended up trying to do a pixel art landscape. This took me days 3 and 4 to finish. And personally, it's my favorite thing I've done. It was so much fun drawing in a pixel art style. And it's funny because it's like a puzzle as you're drawing, trying to place the pixels in. And I had so much fun and it was such a great time. If you've never tried pixel art, I would definitely highly recommend it. After I finished this on day 4, I decided to try to draw Shinra again. This one turned out better than the last two, but the lines felt kind of blurry and pixelated. I'm not for sure what I'm doing wrong, if it's the brush, or as you can see now, I typically start in such a small corner. I'm wondering if I'm zooming in too much on the canvas, which is what's causing the outline to look a little wonky, but I'm not really for sure. I didn't really enjoy drawing this too much, but I am getting a little bit more comfortable with the controls. But the only thing I could think about the entire drawing was how much I wanted to do more pixel art. So on day 5, I found a tutorial for drawing pixel anime characters, and it's really the only one I could find. I followed and I drew Zelda, and this was a lot of fun. There's a lot more to pixel art than I would have thought, but it's very rewarding. So I decided to lock in and give it a couple more days of trying. I learned that if you enjoy what you're drawing, it goes a lot better. I feel like they turn out better and it feels more rewarding when you're done. On day 6, I decided to make my own game sprite and it did not turn out very good. After trying this, I figured I would start with a fresh page and start experimenting with what to do. I feel like a lot of this has been more experimental and trial and error. I'm not for sure if that will kind of fade as I get more experience or if that's just how it tends to go. I did end up making a small and two kind of medium sized sprites, and I did learn that 8-bit and 16-bit sprites does not refer to the actual size and pixels of them, but the color palettes that was available in those styles. With all the trial runs on day 6 and even more YouTube videos, especially this one, the making pixel characters, I decided to make my own sprite again. In games, movies, and TV, my favorite characters are the big, overly strong guys that are just giant goofballs for the most part. The best example I can think of this off the top of my head is Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist. It's one of the best characters ever. So I mapped out a pose, and I did end up changing it a bit, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I feel like you can tell what it is. Bald guy with a big beard carrying a giant hammer. Even though it's still on the simpler side, I did learn that it seems to be a lot easier for me to start from the feet and work my way up to the head. When I draw the upper body first, the legs always end up being really scrawny and look off. So starting from reverse ended up playing out and working a lot better. From day 1 to day 7, I'm not really for sure how much I improved, but I did find a style that I really like. So I think I'm going to keep trying that and see how everything goes. Who knows? Maybe eventually I'll come back to trying to do more anime style. But for the moment, I am really enjoying the pixel art, so I'm going to keep running with that for a little bit. So if anybody has any tips, please leave them in the comments. Any advice is welcome. And now it's time to start week 2.